I think Clemson, South Carolina, when it comes to baseball, might just be up there, at least in college baseball. It's like one of the most intense rivalries there is. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what was that? What was that first game like for you in that rivalry? I know, obviously we know how it ended, right? That big game, the walk off. But going into it, like walking onto the field, like could you feel the intensity?
I think we all started to feel it once it got closer to the to game time. We obviously knew what was at stake, me and my whole team. And I think, especially in the locker room and everything, we just tried to, treat it like a normal game. And even though it was at a neutral site, it was in Colombia. So it was definitely, we felt that a little bit. But, we just tried to calm our nerves and treat it like any other game. And we knew that it would be a really good game because both teams are very talented. Um, but yeah, I think it was a great atmosphere, and you see half orange and half dark red, and it was just a lot of fun. That field is great. That Columbia Fireflies field, great field. But yeah, we knew we were ready for an intense battle.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, I feel like it must have had a little bit more um, intensity to it because the first game got postponed, which was supposed to be at South Carolina. And so you have that day of just like thinking about it, right?
Yep, yep. I remember we were sitting in the hotel when it was pouring rain, and we were just all like you can feel everyone's kind of blood boiling a little bit just because we wanted to get out there on Friday night at their place and play. And so, yeah, there was definitely a lot of, built up kind of feelings within us that we were like, all right, we're ready to go whenever they say we're playing.
Did you did you like when you got on the field and you were like playing those first couple innings, and then obviously later on, that's when it really started to kick in, because it was just so close. Was there like a moment where you had to like say to yourself like, I gotta clear my mind, like calm down, like I don't want this to affect how I play?
Honestly, when you're in a game like that, you don't black out, but you kind of just get into this zone where you're just like super locked in for as long as it takes. Um, And I think a combination of just being super focused while at the same time playing free and not trying to force anything and still having fun with your teammates, even in the dugout when things are super intense, like you kind of just like you talk with your teammates and just, talk about how cool it is and kind of just, take everything in
Mhm.
rather than, trying to force anything or trying to muscle up and do too much. Um, I think it also comes with just trusting your team and knowing that everyone is going to do their job. And so just not trying to, you know, do other people's jobs, do your job, focus on that. And, if you trust your team, then everything will, work itself out.
Yeah. I mean, and during that game, you had a couple web gyms. I want to say the sixth inning was a big one, the fourth even. Like you had a couple big plays. Um, was that pretty like I don't know. I feel that's got you gotta be thinking like that was pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, I love the opportunities to, make cool plays for my defense, my pitcher who's working his ass off. And that was Ethan Darden and Lucas Malstead.
Yeah.
I'm always expecting, like I said, ground balls from them, whether it be right at me. I'm just kind of on my toes.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, especially in a game that close, when your pitcher is dotting corners and just looking amazing, any opportunity that I can help, rob a single or help a run from preventing, it just, I think it kind of just boosts the camaraderie within the dugout. Um, yeah, yeah, that was a really fun game.
So when you guys got to the extras, right? That's when it was really heating up, 4-4. You could tell like every pitch mattered, right? It meant something. What was what was that mindset throughout those couple innings? And I believe you had before you had your big homer, you faced him a time before, right? And
Yeah,
struck out, right?
yeah,
So how did you kind of diagnose the situation and really zone in those extras and then eventually when you came to the plate?
yeah. I mean that pitcher that came in was pretty good. He had uh, really good fastball that kind of had some like ride to it, and so me along with a bunch of my other teammates, we were late and under it, and weren't having success. But then our pitchers went out and did the same thing to them. So it was kind of like a battle of who's gonna get that first hit to get something going, get some momentum going. Um, and I remember Coach Bakich came into the dugout, got us all together. That's what he does when he doesn't see that we're looking like ourselves. And he just tried to tell us to calm down, try not to let the whole moment get get onto us. And he said it looks like everyone's trying to end it with one swing, so everyone stop doing that and just get on base and pass it to the next guy. And so I think everyone just tried to simplify their approach a little bit. Right before I got up to bat, Jimmy Overtop came up and laced one to center that everyone kind of thought was gone, and it was like, I think right on the warning track. So he got that one good. And so I think maybe after that, our whole dugout was like, all right, we can hit this guy. And maybe that, because I was on deck, and so maybe I, got a little confidence from seeing Jimmy do that. So I think that's, that those are the things that other people don't see, but that every single guy on the team plays a role in a game like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was funny you mentioned Jimmy. I was gonna bring that up. It's like right before he came up. I mean, Jimmy had an awesome, awesome year. I mean, he was a home run killer. Uh, and when I saw that, because I remember watching it live, like when I saw he kind of almost got a hold of one, you had that like sense Clemson might get something going, and then lo and behold, the Andrew Ciufo comes up to bat. Nobody knows what to expect, and you got I mean, you got, like, just enough on there to really get it to go out.
Yeah, I mean, I I hit it, and I was thinking to myself, all right, Jimmy just crushed his, and it didn't go anywhere. Obviously, he's much more of a power hitter than me, so I was like, drop somewhere. Like I hope, and it just kept carrying. I guess I got it on the right angle, and put a good swing on a hard fastball. And so, when someone's throwing that hard, you don't need to try to do too much. You just need to barrel it up. And I was just trying to stay simple and just get on base. But it wound up carrying out somehow, and I'll just never forget the feeling of hitting first base and realizing that it was out, and looking back and seeing my whole team flood home plate, and coming into them. Again, like I said, we've heard the whole offseason that this is the game, and we've all worked so hard together, and just being able to come into my team like that and celebrate with them was just a feeling that hopefully I'll live again, but I'll never forget what that felt like.
Yeah, I remember reading, like, you even said, like, you when you're rounding the bases, you blacked out for a second where you're just like, and I'm
Yeah,
assuming shocked, like, you couldn't believe it.
yeah, I couldn't believe it. Again, I didn't think I had the power to get it out to dead center at a field like that. Um, yeah, and I especially my mom and dad were there, kind of right behind the dugout too. So it was a great overall feeling.